Good morning, everyone, and welcome again to Painless Universal, a conversation with me, Anne Welsh. I'm really honored to have this special guest all the way from Istanbul, Turkey, join us today. He's a father of two, an entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur, businessman who's done so much in his work of life. Today's conversation, he'll be sharing his method of finding joy along the way. Welcome to Painless Universal, a conversation with me, Anne Welsh. I'm absolutely delighted to have you on this platform, all the way from Istanbul, Turkey. We haven't seen for a very long time, and one thing that fascinates me about you and reason I really wanted you on this platform is to share your story about this dot connecting. Before we start, I would like you to make a little bit of an introduction about who you are, because everyone will be quite who is he that has joined this platform to talk about sharing pain and how we could find joy along the way. So I just wanted you to give us a little bit of an introduction of who you are.
Okay. Good morning, and
Good morning.
from lovely day. I wish over there the same. We don't have a sunny day today, but it is rainy a bit. But I love the rain as well.
Yeah, so, I love the sun.
Really? Okay. So thanks a lot. Nice to see you after a long time. And
yeah, I know.
I think book launching. We were there in London, and good to hear that you launched this initiative. I was checking in the website as well. It's nice, and I wish you good luck, and it will be successful as usual. I'm sure about it. I used to be in construction sites since 1990, working initially for Enka Construction for 20 years, and 15 years of that 20 was spent in Russia, from Poland border until the ocean, the Sakhalin Islands, and refineries, buildings, minus 50, plus 50. Over there, and then I was in Algeria, I was in Oman, I was in Libya, I was in Tanzania, Mali, Morocco, wherever you can imagine. I toured the world in construction sites. I spent very limited time in Turkey, during all my business life, and maybe it's one point of pain. Not to see the children during all those
years.
I'm a civil engineer, so I was in nearly many types of construction sites, dams, as I said, refinery, buildings, roads, whatever.
Okay.
So and even during that time, I was always investing in entrepreneurial activities, in technological companies, innovative things, which contain maybe some subjects about energy as well, smart metering things, solar power investments, digital ideas, all those things.
Okay.
So since 2 years, I'm operating my own consultant company in energy operations, and giving consultancy to companies in construction, energy, technology, digitalization, and recently during COVID periods, of course, I started giving consultancy because of my network worldwide to healthcare companies for test kits and whatever, sanitizers, all these things. So, but as you know me pretty much, first of all, I'm not thinking about the money. First thing for me is the social thing, the human thing, help the people around the world, relations,
yes.
These things.
No, I agree as well, because with the whole COVID-19, it's just taken us in a whole different aspect of life, and it's really got us reviewing life. But one thing I wanted to touch on with you, because we were in a different parts of the world, in your part of the world, how are you dealing with this COVID-19 pain? How are you and your family handling it, and even people around you, the country itself? How are you dealing with it?
As you know, country by country, it's changed a lot. How the country or government is dealing with it. Everybody has different precautions, and we don't understand quite well here. But whatever we hear from media, especially from government, from their speeches, is getting better every day, especially this week. And as of today, they opened nearly everywhere. Even the restaurants and internal flights, and we are hearing that as of 15th of January, they opened all the international flights as well. But during this time, more than 3 months, we were enjoying to be together, all family in the same house.
How did you deal with it? So did you do anything? Did you learn anything about yourself along the way, or how was that? How did
sure.
business?
Sure. Everyone does that. You have plenty of time to listen yourself. At least to manage that period, you have to do some meditations as well, yoga or whatever, to manage that. And that gives you, especially to clear your mind and refresh many things. And where am I? Where I am coming from? Where I am going? You are questioning everything, and what should you do? You are evaluating everything one by one, each person in the house, and all your friends, all your partners, whomever you are consulting. This is what we are discussing. I'm participating to minimum 4 or 5 Zooms since then, Zoom meetings every day, and this is a topic always. 1 minute or half an hour or 2 hours in the Zoom meetings where we're going. And nobody knows that. Some panics, some adapts themselves even in 1 minute. That's okay. This is the situation, and this is how I have to behave, and let's start or restart kind of things. This is what I did as well. I thought that okay, this digital world is accelerated, so I have to more concentrate on AI or digital applications which can deliver goods to people, foods to people.
So different method of contact, people to people's contact.
Sorry?
So you're saying you're focusing on the different methods of people to people contact. So rather than just relying on people, there's other ways of delivering foods and goods to people, right?
Yeah, of course. I'm checking since maybe 2 years where the farming is going worldwide, and so I'm following some very technological things in Netherlands. They're using even artificial bees for the pollination in the farming, and so we have to follow this because this is where the world goes, and this kind of technological farming issues, and also maybe urban farming issues will be we're going to hear more. And we have to adapt that ourselves as well, and for the people like you and me and all the entrepreneurs, we should contribute in that.
Yes, exactly.
This for the sake of world humanity.
So how would you say people where you are have managed to deal with the pain of living with their family or not being able to see your loved one? How have you, in your culture where you are, how have you been able to deal with that pain and find this has been almost 3 months now, or is it now 3 months? How have you been able to deal with it?
Yeah, since 13th, 14th March, we are dealing with this. I suppose the first 15 days was very important and difficult for the people who stuck in their houses, all those lockdowns. And then people get adapted and they started enjoying even,
Yes.
because we discussed with you before that in Istanbul especially, it's 20 million people, big city, and there are two sides, Asian sides, European side. Every day 4 or 5 million cars, 7 8 million people were traveling from that side to that side, from their houses to their work offices. Now they realize that why we're doing that, why we are polluting the world and polluting ourselves and spending 4 or 5 hours on the way instead of spending with our families or having some more beneficial time or more profitable time spending for ourselves, whatever. So people realize worldwide that this time it was, how can I say, more effective.
Yes.
People work more effectively, and
because that time you're spending meeting.
There were some CEOs of the fashion companies, and they realized that why do we have all those offices worldwide? Why do we manufacture all these luxury things with high level, very expensive ones, and why do we need that? So people started questioning everything, re-questioning everything, and everything.
Yes, no, I agree, because I felt the same as well. I being here in London, I felt like there's certain things I've never used, and why was I even buying these things? Why was I doing certain meetings? Like now we're having this conversation, why were too many people on the flight and polluting the air? Now I'm not kidding you, I can actually hear the birds sing in a very long time, and I feel so beautiful just sitting out there in the garden listening to this. And I can imagine for you guys as well, because I've been to Istanbul, I've seen how polluted it can be with the cars, almost like my country, Nigeria, Lagos, where there's so many people on the road, and you just ask yourself, how do people ever stop? People get that caught up in that routine, and you're too scared to even stop. And this forced all of us to stop and just start thinking. Did you come up with any creative idea during this lockdown period?
Creative ideas. What I'm doing, I'm maybe creating ideas every day, because as I said, I'm in meetings all the time, and because of the time differences, I have meetings with China, I have meetings with California, so I have difficulty to even have some time to sleep. 4 hours if I sleep every day, I'm lucky. So because of all time differences, and that's the creativity as well. We are deciding, creating many things, activities, ideas with all those people around the world, and we evaluate the situations, conditions in South Africa, in China, in Malaysia, in California, in UK. In Morocco, and what's the situation, what do you need, what can be done, how do you see the way of government goes and people, what's the condition over there, what's the health, what's the economy, and then you create something and go after it.
Absolutely. So the whole thing about this is about overcoming. In your life or in people's life, have you ever had to face pain? And even if you have, what methods or what would you advise people out there listening? Because a lot of people will be listening to this wondering, okay, has he ever come? It could be business pain, or it could be your country pain, or it could be your personal pain. Could you share us a story of one of those instances? And what method, because I remember you telling me one time, is that one of the method is that acceptance is really very, very, very important in whatever you do. So, but I would like you to share a story and how those methods of acceptance can really lead to you helping one overcome pain.
Yeah, just before connecting this Zoom meeting today in the morning, also I was thinking about two things. One is the acceptance, very magic word, and the other one is also maybe your characteristics issues, your own character, which if all the human being without any selection, without any separation, the same value. If they have the same value for you, and you have a capacity of accepting this, of course, it comes with the experience as well. So with these two things, I can give you some examples. As I said, I traveled many places and I lived there, minimum 2 years in many countries. And when I go there, it takes maximum 15 days for me to adapt myself like a person from that nation. Okay? With these two values, you are accepting it, and then also all the people around, the Algerians, the Senegalese, Mali, and all those people, wherever you go, Qataris, everywhere. I start from the first day, try to understand their language, and also I'm taking lessons, and I, at least 200, 300, 400, maybe 700 words I'm learning, and starting from the 20th day, those people are inviting me to their environments, to their social environments, to their business environments, and they start trusting me as well, because I'm becoming one of them. And I instead of all my colleagues, for instance, Turkish colleagues in Algeria or wherever they continuously complain about where we are, why we are here, why we're in such a situation. But I was saying that it's such a lovely city, lovely people. Did you go to that restaurant? Do you know that there are 4 tennis clubs here? Do you know that there's a golf course even here? Do you have enjoyed to be with those people in those places? Kind of. They didn't, because they don't have acceptance. Okay, for me in the world, I'm not selective. I'm not separating the people. Everybody are the same. Their professions, their nations, their colors, their religions, their locations, their levels, educations. Everybody are the same for me. So this is also very important for you to accept the things in the world, and then you are becoming happy everywhere, in every condition, and you always you're becoming such a person to able to see always not the empty side of the glass, always the full side of the glass. Okay, so instead of complaining about COVID, why we locked down in the cities and houses, I see the other side of it. Like, okay, the cargo planes are working, the trade can work, money transfers can work. So what should I do? And digital applications can work. So what shall I do? Instead of sitting here and crying and complaining about I cannot go to construction sites, I cannot develop any construction activities. So you should adapt yourself and enjoy with every page. But there's maybe one I have to say that it's not good not to see for a long time all your kids. So it's not easy to compensate that one.
On the kid side.
Yeah, the kids side is not easy. But
I love what you just said. I love what you said about the acceptance, because I think you're very right. When this COVID happened, a lot of people were hurt and really struggling, because it took a while for them to accept that this is where we are, and there are alternatives to do what you do, but we just have to find what those alternatives are. So I think this COVID will probably teach a lot of people the reason why we need to accept where certain things, and once you're able to accept it, then you could feel the rest follows through. And
the other thing also, we learned more. Maybe we were that accelerated some teaching.
Yeah.
Like the difference between I want and I need.
Yes.
Like some countries, some populations genetically knows this. They're growing with this mentality. This is very few. Maybe
Mm.
like in Netherlands, they know very very well the difference of it, and for at least for some period, the greediness is calmed down a bit.
Yes.
And
Yes.
people realize that why do I have all these 100 shirts in my wardrobe?
Mm.
Why do I buy these more sculptures? Why do I have all these paints around? Why do
Yeah.
I spend all that money to myself instead of going to charities and
Yeah.
spending some money for the people in Africa who
Mm.
cannot reach even test kits and vaccines, water.
Yes.
So people have to think about just opening one well costs $2,000, and people are spending tens of thousands of dollars minimum to many things for the pleasures.
Yes. No, I totally agree. On a final note, what words of encouragement would you give to the youngsters out there, especially people or the government listening, in ways of dealing with, because we have to come out of this COVID-19. As we've seen in Turkey right now, the lockdown is being eased out. What message would you give us as we're all coming out of this lockdown? How do we go back to normality?
Some governments, some people, some authorities prefer to use new normal. It can be new normal, you can call it new abnormal, whatever, but there's some new system. I don't think that it will be the same as before. Of course, people will go run even to restaurants when they open. People will go to shopping when it's open, but then it will slow down. And of course, it will not be as before, maybe just 15% of before, and maybe to go again to 5% instead of 0. And yes, consciously or unconsciously, we learned a lot, and it changed us. So this 3-4 months period, I believe it changed us. Governments were somehow forcing people not to touch, not to kiss, not to hug during some intensive periods in countries, or not to spread around other viruses before. But this kind of pandemic taught people that yes, it can be very serious. So listen to the governments from now on for the other viruses. And what else?
Yeah. No, I think you did. I enjoy the listen to the government, because obviously they've known what to do. That obviously could have gotten worse than where we are today, but we've managed. Each country in its own little way has managed to make this less worse than it could have been if we didn't take certain measures and certain initiative. So
I was thinking, and for the first 1 month, we were always in the meetings talking about, yes, the world will be more collaborative. There will be more unions. Maybe there will be just one country in the world from now on. All these best wishes we were talking between us. Then after the second month, these talks disappeared. Now we are talking about again cold wars, hot wars, politics.
My country. Everyone's focused on my. Yeah.
I started thinking even 2 months ago that why not we lock down one big city every day continuously till the end of the world for reducing the carbon footprint.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
Why don't we create an initiative? This is my idea. I didn't hear it from anywhere. And in case I can find I feel stronger or power to calculate all these things one by one. I will try to calculate the carbon footprint of big cities, how much for one day? So if we lock down every day one city, 365 days, what will be the benefit for the world? So I think it's not very sufferable for just for one day, a year. Everybody can agree for that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. And
collaboration between the nations. So we have to find this kind of things.
yeah, I think the only way we could overcome our pain with what's happened is that there was also pain before, whether we like it or not. We were in pain because they forced us to be together and stay at home. But before this happened, I think there was something going on that the world was just going, the pollution was too much. It's just, the world was getting too crazy and we needed to slow down and get better. All around the world, and I really appreciate your story because your knowledge has really helped me in terms of understanding the wisdom of what it takes to accept a situation, accept where you are. I don't know if you have any final message of what you would love to end this with, but I really appreciate just talking to you because it gives me a sense that we're all in this together, but everyone was the only people who are really likely to really do better out of this are people who are able to accept the situation and find out ways to move forward.
I can tell that maybe I'm a good man, yeah, and I'm educating my children also to be in the same way, to go in the same way all the time, and they're following me, they're hearing me, they're listening me, and they're following the world as well. I wish the world is not getting more crazy and slow down. The population is unbelievable, amazing. It's really accelerated. We have to slow down the population, and it can be with the governmental policies instead of creating uneducated increasing population in the countries for them to re-elect in the elections. Maybe instead of encouraging the people to go for 4 kids, 5 kids, 6 kids, and you don't have enough schools, you don't have enough resources, you don't have enough economies just for re-election. People have to stop thinking in such a way and stop increasing the population in the world. Otherwise, the resources will never be enough for us. And the countries, the leaders, has to be more collaborative, more cooperative. Otherwise, it won't work. I hope some of them at least they realize that it doesn't work in such a way. We cannot manage even, you see, the pandemic. They cannot stop in some countries, and in some countries in Africa, I see that, or even in Europe, they couldn't able to so far realize that there is such a pandemic issue, and it can spread if you don't control it, whatever.
Yeah, no.
So I wish for a more healthier, more collaborative world.
So we could definitely, we could definitely overcome this challenges of the world. Thank you so much, Tolga. I really enjoyed talking to you. I needed to have this conversation with yourself because, you know, it's always nice when you hear from people living in different parts of the world on how they're dealing with these challenges, and especially with yourself, you've traveled the world, you've worked in various places, so you understand where different thinking of the world and why it's so important to adapt and accept yourself in where you are at that time. And especially with the current situation going all around the world currently, this message I think will touch a lot of people and inspire them to kind of see what the environment has to do, what is going on, how to make that change. I applaud you and I thank you so much for joining me this early morning to have this call with me, and I really look forward to hopefully we have more chats in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for accepting me, inviting me here. Very nice to see you. I wish you continuity of your success in the future. I'm there anytime you call me for all my contribution, all my support. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll speak to you soon. Bye.